friends, and welcome to episode 61 of Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. I'm Kimberly, your host, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. Did You Bring the Hummus is a podcast to help you go vegan. This season, I'm sharing new episodes every Monday discussing all things vegan. Most importantly, we'll talk about how to embrace this meaningful decision with fervor and fun. Episodes post every Monday on your favorite podcast app. Before we get started, I have one very important question for you. Did you bring the hummus? Today, I am joined by Marie Doré of Your Vegan VA. Marie, a VLCE, Vegan Lifestyle Coach and Educator, is a vegan virtual assistant with a passion for travel. She believes that anything is possible if you have the right attitude and is always looking for ways to empower her clients to reach their highest potential. Marie traveled the world solo in 2016 and 2017, exploring New Zealand, Australia, Asia, and Europe. After meeting her partner on this life-changing trip, she moved to Germany in 2019 and experienced many shifts that led her to start her own virtual assistance business. Vegan since 2020 and living between Canada and Germany, Marie's creating a life of freedom for herself while helping the vegan movement the best she can. Marie and I get into the complexity of being human, what that means when going vegan, tips and tricks she learned on her travels, leading by example, and truly taking care of your whole self. Oh, and wait until you hear about Marie's favorite hummus. Hey, Marie, thanks for joining me.
Hi, Kimberly. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm so honored.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really honored to have you. I'm looking forward
Oh,
to a really great conversation.
same.
So my first question, as is standard here at Did You Bring the Hummus, is just share about your vegan journey. Tell us how you got here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I never know quite where to start with that question because I feel like I have not an uncommon journey, but for me, my journey really started with beauty products.
Hmm.
So I was introduced to this idea that there was many products that contained animal products and were tested on animals, and that just did not go well with me. And that was back when I think I was 22, and for reference, I'm not shy about my age. I'm 30 now. So that was when I was around 22 years old. And that concept, that idea really disgusted me. Just to think that I was putting on my skin animals, or that the products were tested on the animals, that didn't that didn't go down well when I learned that.
Yeah.
So yeah, from that point on, from 22 years old, I completely stopped using animal products in my beauty products. And for some reason, I was still comfortable with the fact that I was eating animals. Like that was not really an issue. I didn't mind that as much. Um, it didn't disgust me as much. I didn't think much about the process because it was not yet introduced to me.
Mm.
So so that's where it started. And then in 2016, I I traveled. I left for New Zealand, and I did some kind of world tour. Every time I say that, I say the exact same thing. I'm like, I feel like a rock star when I say that I did a world tour, but it's just I started from point A and came back to point A by doing around
Very
the world like
cool.
that. Yeah, it is pretty cool, and I did it
Yeah.
alone. Yeah,
Wow.
and so yeah, it's I was 23 when I left, and back then it didn't seem so intimidating, and now I
Mhm.
look back and I'm like, wow, I'm a badass.
Yeah.
And during that travel, I met several people that were vegetarian and vegans, and that kind of introduced me for the first time to this idea that was completely in my city. There were no vegan restaurants. I was not really where I live in Quebec City. That was not really in any way, part of the culture. So I was not really exposed to it before traveling. And so, do you know what? Actually, I'm lying.
Outed yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah. In 2012, my sister went vegetarian. And I have a Facebook, it's very embarrassing. I have a Facebook post that pops up, as a memory each year, where she tagged me and she was like, "Do you want to be vegetarian with me?" And I answered, "Never." So, so I'm lying. My sister had been vegetarian, so that was my first encounter. And but when I traveled, it really it really stayed with me a little bit more because I was picking up tips and tricks to save money while I was traveling. And a lot of that was to eat vegetarian. Because if I didn't buy meat anywhere I go as a traveler, oh my God, I saved so much money. So introduced there. But what really, really tipped me over, if I can say it like that, was a market in Vietnam. So I was in Vietnam for about a week. And next to my hostel, there was a meat market. And I didn't know it was a meat market, right? And just wandered in, and the smell and the sight, it was over. I could
Yeah.
not, you know, like it's very different in Southeast Asia, the way they present meat. It's very graphic because it's the entire animal that you see. It's the head, it's, it's just everything.
Yeah.
You see everything, and it is as it is with the smell. It's not wrapped in a pretty little plastic. So that I couldn't.
Yeah.
I made the connection then, Yeah. I saw the animal and I thought, shit. I'm sorry. Am I
No. Yep. You're free to say what you
okay?
want.
Okay. Okay. I thought, shit, I cannot go back. I cannot go back. And at the same time, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to be fully vegetarian because at first that was what I did. I went vegetarian and I didn't know. So I would kind of advocate for myself and tell people, hey, I'm gonna be vegetarian one day because I cannot eat meat anymore. I'm gonna be vegetarian. So other people would kind of keep me accountable on that, like asking me or pointing to me like, oh, this is vegetarian. Oh, you could eat that.
Yeah.
And so little by little, I just stopped eating meat altogether. At some point, it was, like, oh, once a week, if I go to the restaurant and there's nothing else, I will eat like chicken or something like that. And then at some point, I woke up one morning and I was like, you know what? That was July of 2017, where I was like, you know what? I haven't eaten any meat in 3 weeks.
Mm.
How gorgeous, how amazing, how brilliant.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm never going back. Like now that it's been 3 weeks, I'm never going back. And so that was my transition into being vegetarian. And then about 2 years later, so I moved to Germany. I met my partner in Australia as I was traveling. And then he's German. So I moved to Germany with him. And my partner had chickens. And it was really for him, it was really like his little pets, like his
Okay.
little friends. And he had like great respect for his chickens. And for the first time I was introduced to, I was never really close to animals as like growing up or anything. So the byproducts, dairy and eggs and honey and all of that, I was not really introduced to the idea of what it could do to an animal. For the eggs, for the chickens that my partner had, it felt okay, in the beginning because I was like, I love them so much, and we will never send them to a slaughterhouse. Like they will be with us like forever. Like as long as we can keep them, we're gonna keep them. And it was really like in the beginning, it was we're gonna eat the eggs because there's eggs anyway. And at some point, I got disgusted by it because I could hear them, you know, like
Mhm.
when you have chicken in your backyard, you can hear them put the eggs that, well, I don't want to say give birth to the egg, but yeah.
Right.
And you hear them and it's painful and you know that they've
Aw.
been breeded this way. So I was like, no,
Yeah.
I cannot do it anymore. And yeah, and again, at some point, and for dairy, you know, it was the same thing. I was exposed. For me, it was really exposure, direct exposure to the animals. We visited a small family-owned dairy farm, a small, not something industrial, right?
Hmm.
A small family farm, and I could not stand it. I could not stand the sight of it. I could not stand seeing the babies separated from their mothers. I could not. And
Yeah.
I remember looking at my partner being like, nope, it is over for me. I'm going full vegan.
Hmm.
This is where I'm at. So very long story short, for me, it was a long transition. And in a way, I'm very glad it happened this way because
Hmm.
it allowed me to slowly learn along the way everything I had to learn in
Yeah.
order to make this lifestyle sustainable for myself.
Hmm.
And I wouldn't have done it another way, I think. I would not have. I know some people, it's great for them, they go vegan overnight, and that's amazing. For me personally, the long game was
Hmm.
the solution.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I love hearing people's journey to veganism because I can always relate. So far, I've been able to relate to someone's story in some piece of it, but I also love that we all find these different ways to get to the same point, and it blows my
Mhm.
mind every time I hear a new story. I too started off with stopping using products that had been tested on animals.
Yeah.
I found out about animal testing in like high school, and I made sure that I was like reading the label and I wouldn't buy anything that was tested. And then I just kept eating
Mhm.
animals. I didn't like vegetables. I had no idea how to cook. And then eventually um I was almost 21 when I got an issue of PETA's Animal Times in the mail. And I don't know how it came to me. I still to this day don't know why it showed up, but I'm so glad it did. And I went vegetarian overnight, but I wasn't vegan overnight.
Mm.
It took me probably like another I was on and off. I'd go vegan for a little bit and then back on cheese because I didn't know how to cook and I was still learning. And so I finally went vegan like forever and ever in 2015. But yeah, me too. It was a long process and I needed the
Yeah.
time because like I said, I hated vegetables, had no idea what I was doing in the kitchen. And I was lucky enough that I was so young because I was living at home. And so the idea of like wearing leather shoes, I was like not doing that anymore. I was able to give them away. And because I was working, but not, and I didn't have like some great job, but it was enough for me to be able to like restock, buy new
Mhm.
shoes, buy a new handbag. And so the only thing that was keeping me from actually being vegan was all the cheese and eggs I was eating. And I'm
Oh
so
my
glad I
God.
finally made it there. But
I
uh,
know, right? The cheese. I was such a cheese girly. Like milk and yogurt was never a problem for me. I don't know why. I was never really big on milk and yogurt.
mhm.
Like, not really, but the cheese,
Yep.
grated cheese on this and extra cheese on my pizza and cheese, like
Yep.
cheese all over the place. And yet it surprised me when I really made like this connection,
Mhm.
how quickly I was able to say no.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised by myself because I thought I had this idea when I was vegetarian that, oh, I'm not going to be able to. It's going to be so hard if
Mhm.
I try to stop eating cheese. And yet, you know, like this emotional connection happened, and then it was a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what helped me go vegetarian overnight, was that I made that emotional connection. And that's what kept me motivated to keep learning how to cook and learn more about what I could eat, what I should be eating. And that helped the transition along for sure.
I talked to so many people who say the same thing you just said about cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I also didn't know how to cook really before. I was so clumsy in the kitchen, and it would take me hours to make, like a simple meal,
Yep.
like the simplest one pot meal. It would take me forever,
Mm-hmm.
I was not really skilled. But yeah, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I always say when people are like, I can't go vegan, it's too much. And
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, but it's also not, because when you have that motivation, then it's just worth it. Just like anything that you really care about, you
Hmm.
find a way and you keep pushing forward. And when you focus on just one thing at a time, like while you're making dinner, you don't need to worry about the next time you need to buy shampoo. You worry about the next time you need to buy shampoo when you're running out. So yes, it is like a lot of decisions that we have to make around the things that we buy and the way that we interact with the world, but they're not all happening at the same time. And
No,
that's so important
exactly.
for people to remember when they're like, no, it's too much.
Yes, exactly. That is so, so true. And also, if you do it step by step, I don't know because I don't have the experience of going vegan overnight, but I know that from doing it step by step, you go to the same supermarket, you know where your go-tos are.
Mm-hmm.
Like your first trip through the supermarket might take you an hour, you know,
Yeah.
but all your other trips will take you 15 minutes because you know exactly where the things you need are, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not as complex as we imagine it will be.
Right.
So, that is so true. It's like if you go step by step, you'll learn along the way
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yeah, it's not even choices anymore. It's not.
Yep.
Now I don't even double think it. I'm not like, oh, right, I need a shampoo. What will I buy? No, I know exactly what I'm gonna buy.
Yep.
It's just that we are like rewiring those circuit in our brain. And of course that's difficult. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not taking that away from anyone. Of course that's hard for the
Yeah.
first few times, but you can do it. You can do
Yeah.
hard things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I know that so many of my listeners are not yet vegan because they
Mm,
hear these stories. I can't I can't think of a guest off the top of my head anyway that was like, I found out about this and I just went vegan overnight. We all have a journey, and do now that I'm here, or even when I was vegetarian, I knew I wanted to be vegan, and I love the idea that maybe one day we could have a vegan world. Like, of course, I'd love to snap my fingers and have a vegan world, but I've been through the transition myself, and I know the world we live in. So I don't expect people to do that. And for
mhm.
people to just know that they can take their time and learn, because when
Yeah.
we take our time and we learn, that's what makes it sustainable. Like you were saying, it becomes this thing. It's not even a choice anymore. It's simply what you do.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it's funny that you say that because along the journey, you said at some point I was picturing this whole world
Hmm.
being vegan, and I think it's part of the journey as well. This mental piece, the
Hmm.
mental piece, the advocacy, sorry. Listeners, I'm French. Well, I'm not French, but I'm French Canadian. So if you hear an accent, that's where it comes from. I think it makes me charming. So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, this piece, this mental piece that comes with doing a transition like that, especially if you go in for the animals. I myself went through such a journey. So there was the journey to veganism, and then there's the journey within
Mm-hmm.
veganism,
Yeah.
which took me places. Oh my God. From being, angry and mad and driving myself kind of miserable, trying to find excuses for people as to like, why are you not yet there? Like, why are you not
Mm-hmm.
there yet in your journey? Like having these anger issues and this sadness and this just a nervous system going up and down all the time because you start following vegan pages, so you see videos of animal abuse,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not good, like for your system. And so this journey of navigating, okay, I'm a new like I'm a little newbie vegan. I'm angry. I also at the same time I'm so um idealistic. Like I think that things can be so much better, so much quicker if we just did it all right now, all at the same time, right? And slowly making my way to true deep reflections about actually, I don't want to make myself miserable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the fact that I'm making a choice for the animals and for myself. I don't want that to drive me miserable.
Yeah.
Like I've been thinking about that so much lately because I I think I want to bring the comparison with other values that people cling to and drive themselves miserable by doing
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yeah.
It's not just in veganism, right? We see that in a lot of places. I think in a lot of faiths, religions,
Mm-hmm.
some people advocate for what they truly so passionately believe in, but it makes themselves feel sad and angry and hopeless.
Mm.
And I don't want that for myself. Like, I don't know if you've seen that interview, but it was on Oprah, I think. And it was a woman asking Oprah how she could possibly be Christian if she was friends with a gay person.
Mm.
Oprah was like talking about Ellen and whatever. And I hope those references, everyone get them. And this woman, I remember watching the video, and the woman, she was crying because she cared so much that for her, she was convinced Oprah would go to hell,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And she was crying big tears and she was shaking,
Mm.
driving herself so miserable for the choices of someone else.
Yeah.
And I don't want that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be happy and I deserve to be happy. And I want to have social interactions with pre-vegans and non-vegans that are joyful
Yeah.
and normal, you know?
Yeah, I get that for sure. We want to present like that not all vegans are angry and not all vegans are sad or constantly showing people really horrific videos. And look, those videos have a place because some
Mhm.
people they need to see that. Maybe just once, but they need to see it. But that doesn't have to be your approach because there are
Mhm.
other people who need that joyful interaction with Marie in order to consider, oh, maybe being vegan isn't so bad. And they start to
Mhm.
pay attention to how you live and what you do and the things you say. And before you know it, without you ever saying, I think it'd be great if you went vegan, they're doing it because
Yeah.
they love the joyful life you're leading and they want more of that in their own life.
Yes, exactly. It's like
Yeah.
it's a way of leading by example that mm, doesn't impact my life in a way that um yeah, just not making people feel miserable.
Yeah.
You know, it's a journey, like getting here, because I did a podcast interview, I think a few years ago, where I was expressing that anger. You know,
Hmm.
I think I did like through the years a few podcast interview where you could probably like listen to them one after the other, and you'd be like, oh, she has like journeyed. Like what I said back then was
Hmm.
my truth back then.
Yeah.
And your truth can be your truth at one point in time,
Hmm.
and then it journeys, it evolves. And then you're like, you know what? I said that it was my truth, but now that's not what I believe anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I've grown.
Hmm.
And that's beautiful, you know, in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. We should grow. That's kind of the whole reason I think that we're even here on this earth is to, you know, I don't know, experience stuff and
Yeah.
become better versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, like when I first went vegetarian, anytime someone asked me, do you want this, chicken dish or, something like that, I wouldn't just say no, thank you, which is where I would start now. My response would be, I don't eat anything with a face. I don't eat anything that had a mother. And just like that too, all smug and everything. But that's kind of who you are anyway when you're like in almost 21. I think for a lot of people,
Yeah.
you feel like, oh, I'm an adult now. I've kind of figured this thing out called life. And it's totally a lie, but that's what we think we're doing. And yeah, that I was just, a little smug about it. And some people loved that. Most people hated it. And just like you, I grew and
Mhm.
I wasn't always just presenting this like angry response about things. And even now, you can't unlearn the things that you know about the world and the horrific things that happen, and those are a significant reason why so many of us are vegan. But we can choose not to live in it, even though we
Mhm.
know that it's happening every moment of the day.
Mhm.
And we have to, I think that we have to take care of ourselves in order to be the advocates for the animals, to be the stewards of a new way of looking at the world. And for so many of us, it's not watching those videos all day long. And that's
It
okay.
has never been for me.
Nope,
Yeah.
me neither.
Mm-mm. No. And it's like you said, those videos, they do have a place. But I think if you do this transition, take care of yourself,
Hmm.
you know, take care of your emotional realm, take care
Yeah,
of your mental health, because it plays such a big role in are you able to sustain this lifestyle?
yeah,
Because if you continuously bombard yourself, you know, some people have the stomach for it, and I applaud them and I salute them and I thank them for that, you know, but I can't.
hmm,
I know what kind of impact it has on my mental health. I know how it makes me feel for the rest of the day. You know, I know.
yeah,
So, so yeah, take care of yourself. You know,
hmm,
I think that's my main message to people that are transitioning to this lifestyle or even are thinking about that. Take care of your mental health first,
yeah,
and then after that you'll be able to help others, you
hmm,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. It's that saying that we hear all the time. You put your own mask on first when the plane is getting all wild, right? The air masks go down. You don't put the mask on the person next to you. You put it on you first so that you can
Yeah.
help the people around you. And that's exactly what we need to do as well. And one of the things that comes up a lot, I think, is guilt. I've never met a vegan who said, that didn't say, I wish I'd gone vegan sooner.
Hmm.
And we can have a lot of guilt around knowing what we contributed to for however long of our lives that we were contributing to it. And it has its place because we have to work through that. But beyond working through it, accepting, like, yes, I used to do that. I used to be part of this system that horrifies me.
Hmm.
And that then we've got to let that go, because that gets in the way of us doing the work, even if we don't view ourselves as activists. There are lots of vegans in the world that are like, this is just what I do. I don't want to be an activist, but just by doing it, we are activists.
Yeah.
And so I think this this idea of, my train of thought is gone.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Sometimes you just get carried away.
I think I really did. All right. Well, if it comes back, it comes back.
Yeah.
But just let the guilt sit with it, feel it, acknowledge it, let it go, and move
Mm-hmm.
on. And know that emotions are just it's part of life.
Yes.
Vegan or not, we're gonna have
Vegan or
the
not.
ups and downs. Yeah.
Oh, that is so interesting that you bring that up, because I was having a family dinner the other day, and my dad had bought uh I don't know exactly, it's like a sugar pie. I don't know if you are like familiar with it. It's very sugary, as the name says, but it's basically cream and eggs and brown sugar all together, and creates like a mousse,
Okay.
like a sugar mousse, and it's brown.
Yeah.
And that used to be one of my favorite dessert, you know. And
Yeah.
I've never found that vegan. I don't even know. I've never really looked into it, because baking, it's very daunting to me. Baking is a science. It's very different than cooking.
Yeah.
So, but my dad's partner was there, and I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna take a piece. And she said to me, oh, come, stop, stop punishing yourself.
Mm.
And my first thought was, I'm not punishing myself.
Yeah.
I'm not punishing myself. Like I have nothing to be punished for. And then later on that night, I started questioning. I was like, am I not? Am I really not punishing myself? Am I
Mm.
not punishing myself for the years where I felt like, or now I feel like I was not doing the right thing?
Mm.
Is that what I'm doing when I say I cannot even have a little piece? Is it what I'm doing? Am I being just hard on myself? Am I telling a part of me, you cannot have this because this is what you pay for,
Mm.
making the animals suffer for so long? And I really had to think hard about that,
Mm.
because I think there might be a little piece of that is true. Yes, maybe I am punishing myself. And at least realizing it and kind of trying to make peace with that, um, that's that's enlightening. That really
Mm.
helps. Just um I don't know how to say that, like, put my priorities kind of in order, in
Yeah.
a
Okay.
way, you know
Mm-hmm.
so that was interesting. You talked about guilt, so sometimes when you associate guilt with punishing yourself,
Yeah.
those two things. And yeah, so that, I'm no philosopher, but lately, like, I have all those thoughts of, like, there's something deeper in that journey that shows me parts of me,
Mm.
shows me
Yeah.
parts of my personality. And some of it is ugly, because we all have our little shadows, and some
Yep.
of it is great, like that deep ability to reflect.
Yeah. I love that. I
Mm,
love that you're having these like really introspective moments and
mm,
figuring out who you are within this, larger decision that you've made about your life. I think
mm.
that's really amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's, for the longest time, I let that word vegan really describe my identity. And now I'm in this process of separating from it a little bit, because yes, it's true. And I'm proud. I'm proud to be vegan, and I'm proud for doing this for the animals, but it's not everything that I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not, we are all very complex human beings. I am not
Yes,
just one thing.
exactly.
You know?
And that's one of my favorite things about veganism
Mm,
is that we can make it simple in the way we define it.
mhm.
And I mean, even the definition of veganism is like 5 sentences long, so it's not exactly simple, right? But but we know we're not using any animal products, any byproducts, all of that. So we know that simple. But when we think about life and how we don't live in a vegan world, things get complex. I over the weekend, I was lucky enough to go to a talk where Peter Singer was speaking.
Oh,
Yeah. And I've been following his work ever since I went vegetarian. Animal Liberation was the first book that I bought. And I actually got to talk to him afterwards too, and he signed my book. I know.
wow.
It's so cool. But when it came time to Q&A, one of the people in the audience asked, what do we do if we live with animals who aren't vegan or who can't be vegan? How
Mhm,
do we make a choice about that?
mhm,
And what do we do? And he said, if you're not comfortable with it, if it's time, if you don't already live with companion animals and you're not comfortable with feeding them something different than what you're eating, then look for a companion animal who eats like you eat. So rabbits, and he mentioned that he and his wife had 2 rats for their children when they were younger because they were really fun and they were able to feed them what they were eating. But like I live with 4 cats. She
mhm.
was talking about she has 2 dogs. And he mentioned, there are plenty of dogs that thrive on a vegan diet, but cats, that's just not an option. And so you have to make this choice. And I make that choice twice a day, every day. And my cats only eat wet food. And so it's not even just easy to separate myself from what it is because I'm just pouring dry kibble into a bowl. Like I have to scoop
Mhm.
out this food that has a really strong smell.
Yeah.
And it's really obvious what I'm feeding to them. So there are these, and that's just like a quick example I can think
Yeah.
of, but there are so many moments in life where it does get really complex.
Yeah.
And this is something that you had even said kind of in our back and forth, that we're always seeking this simplicity.
Mhm,
So how did you put it? It was like navigating these complex topics when
mhm.
people are really seeking simplicity. So
Yeah.
tell me more about what you mean by that.
It's it's such a beautiful subject. I love the subject itself of complexity
Mm,
because I was talking with my partner the other day and I was telling him, we love as human, we love binary thinking. We love thinking in terms of yes and no. We love thinking in terms of black and white. We love thinking that there's only 2 sides to one coin. We love, and that's the part like I was like, oh my God, I am a poet. We love thinking in terms of day and night and completely forgetting that there is a sunrise and a sunset.
mm.
And I know, right?
I love
I
it.
was like impressed with myself. You have
You
no
should
idea.
be.
And it's the simplest analogy, but it's exactly that. Because it's so we need simplicity and it makes sense in a world where every single person in your neighborhood has their own story, their own background, their own struggles. It's easier to put people in boxes so that you can make sense of the world around you. And I get that. That's like basic, basic human psychology is that we love simplicity. We love to keep things simple for ourselves.
Hmm.
But by doing so, we cut ourselves from others.
Mm.
And in the vegan bubble, there's the vegans and there's the non-vegans. And even, some people go as far as, well, I'm vegan, he's vegetarian, as if it was that much of a difference. It's not, you know. I can think of so many examples like that. I'm Christian, he's not. I'm from Canada, you're from the United States. He's Republican and he's Democrat, right? That's the two
Yep.
parties there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's the left, I'm the right, We love it. We love it. We make sense of our world like that. But we cut ourselves from others by doing so, by putting by bypassing complexity, by forgetting a person's complexity. I make myself, I don't know, that's not how I want to say it. By forgetting their complexity, I cut myself from being vulnerable. And by really seeking who I have in front of me, what's their story, why they are there in their journey. And it's the same with the world in general.
Yeah.
It is so complex. There's so many things at work all at once. We're speaking right now, and there's so many little moments happening all over the world. It's very complex, but I cannot make sense of that.
Yeah.
I could not make sense of that. But I think that just being aware, right? Just by being aware that I cannot comprehend your complexity, I open a door. I open a door to, oh, hi, who are you?
Yeah.
Tell me your story. Why is it that you say that you would love to, for example, be vegan, right? Let's keep on that track because that's what we're talking about here. Like, explain to me, why is it that you say that you love animals and that you would love to be vegan, but you feel you can't? Is it because you make under $20,000 a year and you're barely even able to feed your family? Because that's valid. That is so valid. I'm not going to bother you with complex ideas of why this ethic is better than another when all you're thinking about is feeding your family.
Yeah.
Oh, you come from this kind of background, or and I think that if we always keep in mind people's complexity, we're able to see behind the mask,
Yeah.
and that's so important in our interactions with others. And that's where I feel like this journey has taken me, into considering others in their complexity, because there was a time where I thought, you eat animals, you're a bad person. Now that's not what I think anymore. Okay,
Yep, been there too.
But there was a time in my life I thought that.
Yeah.
And that is just not true. That is obviously it's not. But you get so caught up in that side of the coin. You just so caught up in just this one end of a spectrum that you forget that there's something in the middle.
Yeah.
Things. So that's what I was coming at, is that we love seeing both ends. We think in terms of everything is binary, but everything is a spectrum.
Yeah.
And if we start looking at the world with those glasses, right? If we start looking at the world through this kind of vision that everything and everyone is somewhere on that spectrum. There is life, there is bringing life, and there's death. And in the middle, there's everything.
Everything.
Everything, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we can see that in science, for example, that they're bringing this concept to more and more things. For example, mental health, or disabilities. They don't they don't tend to give a certain diagnostic or trying to find a word for every single diagnosis, because it's a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So there, you fit somewhere on there. You are on that spectrum. I'm on the spectrum of, like, I'm a woman as the way that I show up, or I choose to show up as a woman, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Barbie, but I'm not like, you know, like I'm somewhere on that spectrum. And that is beautiful. If you
Mm-hmm.
start looking at the world with that lens, you gain so much perspective and so much acceptance as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And I
I
think
talked a lot. Tell me what you think.
you are all good. I think too that you're so right in this, considering complexity, being open to hearing each other's stories, to want to hear
Mhm,
from other people and understand who they are, where they're coming from. And if we're looking at it from, like you said, focus on the vegan perspective, because that's what we're talking about tonight. If we can do that, it opens both of us up in the conversation, whoever we're speaking to and us, to seeing other ways of getting them there. So you gave the example
mhm,
of asking someone, well, you said that you love animals and you like this idea maybe of being vegan, but you're not doing it. Why aren't you doing it? And if you've already learned a little bit about them and you ask a question like that, people are going to be more open to help, to figuring out an answer to it, a lot less defensive, right? But also, you can start to help them see where they could make a change. So maybe they're
mhm,
still not going to go vegan overnight. Maybe they're like, I'm working a lot. I don't have a lot of support that way at home. I'm the one who has to make all the food. It just seems like too much and I want to do it and I can't. And then you can help them find quick vegan meals, or you can start them with buying that shampoo. Replace your shampoo with a vegan one. Start bringing in veganism in little bits where it's manageable for you until you can make a change when you're ready to make a change. And even if it doesn't go anywhere, there's a deeper understanding. And my goodness, are we missing that in the world today?
mhm,
We are, and you hear this all the time. We're so connected because we have things like Zoom for us to do this podcast. We have all the social medias for people to always know what their exes are up to and their second grade
mhm,
teacher and, everybody that they've
yeah,
ever crossed paths with. But at the same time, we're completely disconnected. And
mhm,
I don't know if it's this way all around the world, but certainly in the US, it's
mhm,
almost as if the more we're online, the less we're interested in real people knowing anything about us. And it
yeah,
almost feels offensive when someone asks a deeper question than like, hello. Because even in the US, you say, how are you? Nobody wants the answer to that. They want you to just say, good, how are
mhm,
you? And move on with your day. Here, if someone says, I'm actually having a really tough day and I'm really glad that you asked me that, they're like, whoa, I'm not your therapist. No thanks. But
mhm.
if we can have those conversations like you were talking about, what a difference the world how different could the world be if we were able to still have conversations with each other?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's so beautiful you say that, because why did so many of us go vegan in the first place? By compassion.
Hmm.
And along the way, somewhere, we lost compassion for others.
Yeah.
we gained all that beautiful compassion for animals, and that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's really beautiful and it's amazing. And I applaud everyone that's been able to do it, to gain that deeper level of compassion and connection.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the way, somehow, we lost compassion for our peers. We
Mm-hmm.
lost compassion for people that don't think like us. And that's not where we came from. That's not we need to keep that compassion going beyond. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what a lot of people are struggling with when we talk about veganism in this day and age, because people are like, well, aren't you thinking about, you know, this issue and that issue? Yes.
Yeah.
And, but you're right. Some of us have lost that sight. We have lost that compassion because we're so angry.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like all our compassion is directed toward just the animals. And that's not everyone, right? That's big generalization here, but I felt like that at some point.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I had to regain my compassion for people that don't think like me. Can you imagine the difference it would make if, again, Republicans and Democrats could feel compassion for each other? Because
Mm-hmm.
both parties, so that's the thing that's interesting with complexity, right? Is that everyone think that they're right.
Yeah.
And you need to keep that in mind. You have to, like, this person in front of me truly believes that the highest value in life, for example, is money. They truly believe that the most important thing in this world is money. And if only you could understand that, you would feel so much better in your life.
Mm-hmm.
They truly believe that. That's not my reality. But just because I'm not experiencing a reality does not invalidate that reality. And so, can you imagine it, like in my head, of course, like it's like utopian, right? But can you imagine a world where everyone can just keep that in mind? And I'm on I'm Democrat, you're Republican. I don't know why I have this. It's just that it's such an easy
It
example
is.
because,
Yeah.
like, even as Canadian, like even as a Canadian, that's how I see like biggest dualities,
Mm-hmm.
biggest like rivalry,
Yeah.
and can you just approach the other person saying like, I understand that this is what matters most to you, and you can fight for that, and I will still fight for what I believe in, and
Mm.
thank you for understanding that too,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah. I think I don't want to go off on this tangent because that would be a whole other podcast episode. But I
I'll come
think,
back.
yeah, for for me here in the US, I definitely feel like there are people who on the Republican side have gone so far that there's such a danger
Hmm.
to not just themselves, but the people around them, the people in the country, people in other countries. I feel like they've become such a dangerous piece that it's such a risk where I can't be like, that's your reality and I'm okay with it, because I
Mm,
fear for the world as a whole if the reality becomes their reality. But in a larger sense of things, I totally see how, like, where you're coming from,
yeah.
and that it really would help us as vegans be better advocates for the animals, as people who are working to improve the lives of others, our own lives, like,
Hmm.
if we can have these true conversations and work together with people where we aren't aligning on everything, and being able to still have a goal together and work towards and meet that goal, that in and of itself would, I think, create a world where the people who have a reality that is dangerous for the rest of us
Mhm.
become a non-issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I completely agree with you. And it's always touchy, especially when we talk about politics and people that are in power and who are making decisions. It's like so much different than if you just meet someone in the street, and it's,
Mm-hmm.
very different. I completely agree with you. And also, it kind of proves my point. Well, my point, I was not trying to make a point, but it kind of proves the fact that these people in power that are, gone so far and are so deep in their beliefs that we cannot quite understand, it
Mm-hmm.
shows how far they are disconnected from their compassion, how
Yeah.
far they are disconnected from the rest,
Mm-hmm.
how far we have come to, like you said, be aware of so much, see so much, be able to reach anyone really through a
Yeah.
screen, and yet be so disconnected from each other's reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I so agree with you. I think the way you phrased it was beautiful. And yeah, if we could only, I just don't see another way in my own, in my own head. I don't see another way than keeping the light,
Mm-hmm.
keeping the fight with compassion, keeping the fight with this awareness that I will never be able to fully grasp who you are and what your reality is.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never be fully able to understand you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You will never be able to fully understand me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a complex human being. We are so complex.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to keep that in mind. And especially,
Mm-hmm.
if you have interactions with people and that kind of like throws you off a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
um reminding you're reminding yourself, oh, I don't understand everything about that person, and I can
Yeah.
help you, like in a mental health,
Mm-hmm.
like in a nervous system kind of way, to kind of regulate. Oh, I
Yeah.
don't understand fully what's going on,
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's going to help a lot of people
I
in their
hope
day-to-day
so.
interactions. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Just deep breath. I don't understand you fully, And
Yep.
there's some people that for them it's way more difficult to stay there. Like my partner and one of my friends, they're very curious people, so they need to know. Like they need to know, like, and they ask questions after questions after questions. Where I'm more the kind of person who's like, you know, I've always been like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't need
Good enough.
I don't need details. I'm fine. So for some
Yep.
people it's going to be so difficult to be like, yeah, but I need to understand
Mm-hmm.
everything. And for others it's going to be like, you know what, a mantra, I can live with just a mantra, I'm fine.
Yeah. So I've got two more questions for
Okay.
you. They're going to be a lot lighter than what
Okay.
we've just been talking about. Um, so you mentioned you met your partner and he was living in Germany, so you lived there for a while, and you're in Canada. Or do you
Yeah.
guys split time between the two countries?
Yes, that's right. Well,
Okay.
that's the goal.
Okay.
So yeah, so I lived 3 years in Germany with him, and we've been here for a year and a half. And the goal is to switch every 2 years.
Okay.
So we have a little home in Germany. And oh, I talked about the chicken earlier. Unfortunately, the chicken had a very unfortunate end. That's why, we were able to leave actually, because there was a fox. There was a fox
Oh,
attack, and that does not forgive.
yeah.
Um, they don't leave anything behind, foxes.
Hmm.
So unfortunately, we lost all of our chicken. That was
Oh,
very sad. I grieved them for a very long time. And after that,
yeah.
we said, no more chickens, like no more animals. We're fine. We can just travel between Canada and Germany
Mm-hmm.
on our own. And it's perfectly fine. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we
Okay.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I was curious since you have kind of that back and forth and the experience of being there, and now you've been here for a little bit,
Yeah.
or in Canada. Do you notice, is there like a big difference between kind of veganism in where you are in Canada and veganism where you live in Germany? What's like, tell me about that. How is it in
Ooh,
both places?
that is such a great question because you could think so. Okay. So in Germany, we live in a very small village. So smallest village. There's not even a bar. And we're talking about Germany. There's bars in every single village, not in ours. Okay. That's how
Wow.
small our village is. Yeah. And here in Canada, we live in the city. And you could think because of that it would be easier to be vegan in Canada because where everything is. But somehow we are in the city of Canada that's less connected to veganism as can be. And in Germany, globally, I mean, it's such a small country, just globally, everything, when something is available, it's available everywhere.
Ah,
So I think there's two kind of answers to that. I found it easier to be to eat plant-based, right? So whole food plant-based. I
mhm.
found that way easier in Germany, way easier. It's and it's just their lifestyle, right? It's not as Americanized. Things are a bit more healthy. Whole foods it's part of, the German culture, even the people who still eat meat.
Mhm.
It's more whole food and it's more vegetables. We have a big garden, we live in the countryside, so we have a garden, we have our garden, like our vegetables all summer long and during the fall. So very easy. But here, it's very easy to be a junk food vegan.
Ah.
It's very easy to just like grab that little snack and, grab those little things that are ready for us, even if we have two vegan restaurants or three in
Okay.
total here in Quebec City. So, but it's a great question. And I think, you know, we have been gone from Germany a year and a half, and I am certain that we will go back in a year or so and our vegan aisle will have exploded.
Yeah.
Ex- it goes so, so fast in Germany. You go to Berlin, and we're not near Berlin, we're near Frankfurt, but you go to Berlin, every corner of the street, there's a vegan restaurant everywhere. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
love it. I absolutely love it. Um, but yeah, it's again in Germany it's harder to be vegan in our village
Mhm.
because in the village itself, we don't go to restaurant, we cook everything at home. So at home it's easy, but in terms of like social interactions, it's a
Mhm.
bit harder. People don't understand when we go to all the fests, and if you know German culture, you know that there's festivals all the time.
Yeah.
There's nothing for us. We can just eat French fries. That's it.
And
you
drink
know
the beer, right?
and we drink the beer, and that's like you're gonna have a headache in the morning because you didn't eat a lot.
Yeah.
So, and here it's easier because no matter where we go, our friends are, they're very accepting of it, and if there's a festival, very often there will be a food truck with vegan food. So it's like it feels like it balances itself in a way.
Mhm.
It's kind of the same experience.
Okay. Yeah. I was in Munich in 2006 and I was still a
Oh,
vegetarian at the time. So I was able to eat pretty much everywhere
yeah,
because, even breakfast, I was able to just have like cheese sandwiches for breakfast
yes.
and the bread over there. Oh my goodness, the bread. I was
Mm.
so happy. having bread with like every meal. So good.
Oh, and Germans and their bread. Hello, all the Germans out there. They will know. They're like, yes, bread. Don't give me sandwich. Like, they don't give me toast. Give me
Yeah.
different. Toast and bread, not the same thing. Do not make that mistake. Oh yeah, I love that. I love it's big in Germany, the vegan not vegan, just the bakeries in
Hmm.
general. In our village, we had a delivery service every Saturday morning where the bakery would just come with a little food truck and you would
Oh.
order your fresh bread. Every week they would come with your order of fresh
Oh my
bread.
gosh.
And in our house, that would last 2 days
Right.
because Germans, they eat bread all the time.
Yeah.
Morning, lunch, dinner, all the time.
Why not? I mean, I'm
Why
here for
not?
that.
Yeah.
I think that is the perfect segue to my final question to you, Marie.
Yay.
Because I'm thinking about bread, and one of my favorite things to put on bread is hummus.
Mm.
Tell me about your favorite hummus or your favorite way to eat hummus.
Oh my God. Okay. So I knew this question was coming, right? And I've discovered a little place on the island in front of my city. It's called L'Épicerie Radis. And she makes, oh my God, she makes the best garnished hummus.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's it's fantastic. It's phenomenal. I could eat that every single day. It's just, a plate of hummus and it's garnished like so beautifully with every time it's a little bit different, but the one time that was my favorite, she put some impossible ground um ground impossible
okay.
ground like fake
Yeah.
meat on top
Huh.
with pomegranate.
Oh.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And some I don't know, like maybe paprika, and then some I don't know, there was like a spice on it, and herbs. There was parsley, and oh my God,
Yeah.
delicious, so delicious.
One,
Like,
please.
oh, 2, 3, please. I will take some home. Like,
Yeah.
it is delicious. And now every single time I have just normal hummus from the store, I'm a little like, I wish I had the good hummus with the topping. It would be so
Yeah.
simple to do myself, but I'm like,
Yeah. Something
what's
about when
your
someone else makes
hummus of the
it.
moment? Yeah.
My, I went through a roasted red pepper phase for the last couple of
Ooh.
months. Oh, it's so
Hmm.
good. And it's got like the bits of roasted red peppers in it.
Yeah.
And I haven't been making my own hummus lately. So I was buying Cedar's brand. Don't know if they have that in Canada, but it's really good. And then I kind of was like, "Ah, I'm not in the mood for the roasted red pepper anymore." And now I'm just back to the regular
Hmm.
plain with tahini in it. And it's just,
Yeah.
I love the simplicity because I feel like I can do so much with it.
Yeah.
I convince myself like, oh, this one's got so many toppings in it. I can't mix and match with a bunch of different things. But the plain one, I feel like I can turn it into a sauce. I can put it on toast. I can make it with pasta. And so that's where I'm at now. I'm just plain old tahini
Mm.
flavored hummus.
And then it gives you the opportunity to put this beautiful topping. Pomegranate, I'm telling you, you have to put
Yeah,
a little bit of pomegranate on top of your hummus.
I'm gonna give that a try.
It's it's beautiful. Yes.
I
I'm
love
very
it.
passionate about it.
I can tell. And it's perfect because they're coming into season now here on the East
Yes.
Coast, right? So
Yes,
we'll have
that's
plenty
right.
of pomegranate available to us. Yeah.
Oh,
Marie, this
what?
has been wonderful. What a
Yeah,
great
it's been a great
conversation.
time. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
really glad. It was really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
And thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Welcome back. How great was that conversation? I really enjoyed all of the directions we went in, and listening back, I'm definitely going to have some bread once I'm done here. just like I did after our interview ended. Check out the show notes for a link to vegan sugar pie. To connect with Marie, find her on Instagram at YourVeganVA and on LinkedIn. That link will be in the show notes. I hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're loving it, please give Did You Bring the Hummus a 5-star rating and leave a review. It's an easy way to keep supporting the show. Be sure to share these episodes with your friends. If you're finding something good here, they will too. If you're a vegan or know a vegan who would be a great fit for the podcast, follow the Be a Guest link in the show notes. Fill out the quiz and I'll be in touch. I also have a new freebie on my website. Sign up for my mailing list and get a PDF of 3 amazing vegan recipes. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Did You Bring the Hummus, and visit my website, didyouBringTheHummus.com, for more information about me, updates on what I'm working on, new podcast episodes, and all things vegan. Finally, I would love to hear from you. What do you need help with? Is there a topic you want to hear covered on a future episode? DM me on Instagram or send me an email at didyouBringTheHummus@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.